Hi, everybody. It was a pretty ugly day, I guess you could say, overall for the stock market. However, most of the selling was confined to Caterpillar, Microsoft, and Apple. And the good news is that after hours, Apple is up almost 1.5% after hours, about a 5% turnaround from where it closed at the end of the day. Futures are up after hours, so overall things aren't that ugly. I want to go and get a start with the Russell 2000 since it held up extremely well today. The Russell 2000 was only down 0.51%, definitely leading the way. It remains under a buy condition. However, the oscillators still aren't showing anything too bullish here. TSV and MACD is still trending down, and after what we saw today, I now know why I like to see these oscillators curl up, because then I kind of know that we have internal momentum on our side, and right now we do not have that. So we are still suspect to big pullbacks. But that being said, I don't have a lot of sell signals tonight, so that's a good omen possibly for this market. But let's go ahead and move on. The NASDAQ, well, let's actually go look at the New York Stock Exchange too, because it didn't switch. The NYSE, with its intraday reversal off of its lows, prevented it from closing below the 122 open. So the NYSE also remains under a buy condition with the Russell 2000. And as you can see, the oscillators, there's nothing, looking special there. But once we get to the S&P 500, we can see that it was a pretty bad session. The good news is volume was lower than the day before, so nothing serious yet. But because of this move today, with us going below the 50-day moving average and the open of the big up day on Thursday, this model has switched us back to neutral. We're still hunting for longs. We're not freaking out yet on sells. It's just an operational guideline. It tells you where you need to be mentally. So in this index, it's neutral. Dow Jones Industrial Average, same thing. Thanks to Caterpillar, neutral. And as you can see, the oscillators, they're still running to oversold. There's no internal confirmation yet, so we could easily test the 200-day moving average again on the Dow Jones Industrial Average. NASDAQ 100, same similar situation. Heavier volume sell-off for this index, but once again, Microsoft makes up something like what is it, like 13% of this index maybe? Or no, Apple does. Apple makes up like 13%. Microsoft makes up 7%. So with Apple and Microsoft selling off on a really strong volume, it should be no shocker that the NASDAQ and NASDAQ 100 were down quite so much on above average volume. Once again, the oscillators show no turn higher. The good news is those stochastics looking pretty good on all the indexes. So, that is, one little bright light in amongst a dark tunnel of negatives today. But if we can work on this, I think that will be good. But it is good to see at least that the stochastics are trying to turn higher. Still nothing too bullish. Going to go ahead and get right to the sells, though. GD, I believe, reports in the morning, so this is not a timely sell. Oh, please, great stock market gods, let this thing gap up maybe in the morning and we'll get a better sell. If not, hopefully it doesn't gap down too much. If it does gap down a lot, it's going to be painful, and if it gaps down, it's probably going to trigger our final sell, because our emergency sell stop is right below the 135.40 level. So we'll see what happens. It's a late signal, but tonight, got to go market 25% of the position. Also, IQNT, with it closing below these recent lows, 1752, closing at 1747. This is a 50% sell. Why not more? Well, because it's holding the 1695 low a day here and holding the 1726 low a day here. I prefer that we use the 1726 low a day as the final sell stop area on a closing basis. However, for me, I'm not even long the stock anymore. I raised my sell stops to below this level here, 1772, and intraday on 120. I thought at first it was this day that I got cut out, but I just checked. So on 115 I didn't get cut out, but on 120 I did get cut out intraday, and since then it hasn't performed well, and now it's rolling over. So technically 50% sell with it being below average. If volume would have been above average, good night would have been a 100% sell, just like RAX is today. Now volume is below average on RAX, and it's technically above our final cut loss level, which would have been on a closing basis 45.56. But with such a commanding reversal of our signal, and with it completely looking like a rollover top on a short term, we'll just fully get out. There's much better chart patterns out there that some have earnings way far away and some have earnings up close that if we can get past it, I'd rather be long those than something that gave a pocket pivot point signal, worked the very first day, and now just is failing. So RAX is a 100% sell. Intraday, 50% of it was sold when it went below 46.13. So technically I'm going to get out at a better fill, and if the market gaps up in the morning thanks to Apple, I'll get an even a better fill in the position. No new long positions, but we did get an ad signal in ABAX, and it's a beautiful ad signal. And I tell you what, if earnings were out of the way, or if earnings were in late February or March, I'd say, yeah, it's a 2.5 if you really want to long position. But earnings are on the 29th. So we'll go ahead and gamble. It's a very, very bullish stock. It's performed well post-earnings here on July. So maybe if it can keep it up, we'll go ahead in October also. If it can keep it up, we'll go ahead and give it a shot. If not, we'll just have our sell stops. But ABAX giving an ad signal with another pocket pivot point signal. So it's going to be a 1% position. First cut loss is 59.29, so 59.28. Boom, I'm out half on this ad. And if it goes below 58.49, I'm out all of the ads. So only 2 stop loss levels for ABAX. Also, I got taken out of half of my EVDY today since it still has a nice chart. We're going to go ahead and put buy stops just above the 1467 level on the position just in case it gets back in. And AGTC yesterday cut me out of a quarter of my position. I had 25% of my sell stop below 23.42. It hit it. So once again, if this thing can get above 24.90, now that I got a little bit of cash on hand, I'm going to go ahead and add back what just got sold. The positions I'm passing on tonight, there was really only one. I put away my notebook already, so I'm flying blind, but I do know that I did like JD's signal. I haven't looked to see when earnings come out yet, and I'm not buying it. What would make me buy this signal today? Well, JD is finishing just a tad too much off the high day for me. If it would have closed even at 25.36, 25.37, it's definitely a potential long candidate. But I didn't like the surge in BOP. Yes, BOP went green again, but it didn't blast off into high, tall green, which is 100 level green. Instead, it just made it to like right around the, I'd say 50, 40 level. 50 is probably here. So it's not good enough for me to get this speculative stock, especially since I got it. I can't remember where I got it at. I think I got it. I have no idea, but I've already tried this stock once, and I think it was here in January, and I got shaken out, and I think when my final sell stop hit, it immediately reversed higher, and since then it's now working its way higher, so I'm not a huge fan of this one. But overall, the market looks okay. We'll see what happens tomorrow following the gap up in Apple. Thank you.